We're here with Michael O'Brien, President and CEO of BEARDSWORTH, and he's going to present on what does global mean to you. Can you tell us a little bit about this session?
Yeah, actually, we're finding more and more that the industry is going to find patients ex-U.S., outside of the U.S., and that's a critical component to a few things. It actually drives a lower cost basis, typically, because you're going places around the world that are lower in terms of cost of living, and therefore that translates into the prices of the work that's done. Secondly, we're finding that there are typically higher rates of enrollment as you go ex-U.S. And third, obviously, there are marketing opportunities for pharmaceutical companies in each of these different emerging nations that potentially could provide other markets in the future. So I think it's a compelling case that companies that are serving the market right now in the U.S. need to broaden and actually serve outside of the U.S. as well.
Is there some particular experience that you're going to be touching on today that your own corporation has been involved in making that transition, moving outside of the Americas to these ex-America markets?
Yeah, well, there really, maybe there's several models, but two that come to mind are the looking to the global CRO to provide that value. The second is a type of best-in-class approach, which is that you're going to particular areas around the world that you find the best providers of a solution, either sites or CROs that are existing in those countries. And that second model is one that we pursue, which is that we align ourselves with different CROs around the world that actually meet with our standards, and will harmonize our SOPs, and we'll make sure that the value that we provide that client is best for them in that particular country. Speak about what I think is within our industry, the healthcare industry. We're challenged because of the financial crises that are around the world, but we're also challenged because within the U.S. healthcare market, we're likely to see significant change. And the combination of the two makes this type of a conference a very important one, because it gets all the partners together, actually has them speaking and trying to identify new ways of developing clinical trials that are the most efficient and effective. And that's a critical component, I think, in terms of advancing the growth of the healthcare industry.
One of the things that I have learned after going from the service side to a sponsor side is many of the service providers are still mainly focused on execution aspect of big trial, because that's how the CRO industry evolved in terms of meeting the needs of big pharma. But many of them are not quite adept at addressing some of the needs I have in terms of integrated drug development. Even their so-called VP of clinical, VP of regulatory is, scratching the head when you ask a strategic question. And I think service providers need to keep in mind, who is the interface with which kind of sponsor. So the kind of answers you provide to big pharma is probably different from the kind of answers that you provide me when I speak to a potential service provider.
So it's contextual globalization.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. And it's so important.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of points that we could spend a lot of time on, but obviously geographical presence in the regions where the study needs to be conducted is obviously a key primary concern. And being able to provide the sponsor, whether it's a big pharma or a small pharma, an educated strategy for where would be the best geographical location to conduct the study. Interfacing with the sponsor, provide that knowledge and experience.
The drivers to globalization are a few. They're lower cost basis. Their potential to compress the enrollment period on a global basis, because you're finding places where enrollment could be more rapid. It may be for marketing reasons, but I think it's very important for a smaller CRO, now compared to the larger one, to represent where those price advantages and benefits are. And then to be very clear how that's not going to impact quality.
So it's really about value then. It's not really about